Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our Snowfall Season 4, Episode 9 review.
There are spoilers ahead. Everyone's been warned.
Yeah, you have all been properly warned. You have all had the time now to prepare yourselves for what is a funeral procession like no other through this world.
So many people are dead. This episode was all gas, no brakes the whole way through.
It's weird because, I expected some of these deaths to happen. I didn't expect them necessarily to happen right now. There's, one I'm a little bit surprised by, but, okay, we will get to the spoilers. I just got to try to convince myself, okay, don't go, 100 miles per hour off the edge of the cliff here. Okay, slowing it down. If you guys enjoy this video, hit that subscribe button because you know what? We are so close to the finale. So close.
There's only one episode left, guys.
Okay. If the show continues to accelerate at the current death rate, a good 80% of the cast is going to be dead by the end of next week.
I started this episode so worried about Jerome. So before we get into all the deaths, let's talk about that fist fight between Jerome and Franklin. I did not know how he was gonna stop Jerome, because as soon as Jerome was kind of like, listen, I am done with your plotting and your scheming.
Yeah,
I don't care what's ahead of me. I'm just going in. This is what I need to do for myself. No one's gonna stop me. See you later. That fist fight was really the only way to do that, where he could kind of use the one thing at his disposal that he hadn't used yet, which is just guilt.
He had to do something. Okay, let's be clear here. If any of us were in a fist fight with Jerome, we have one or two possibilities.
No, there's one possibility. I'm laid out on the floor.
Okay.
So is everybody. I've said this before. He is muscles on top of muscles, and now with him being as pissed off, rightly so, as he is, nothing was going to really stop him. That's why when Frank was kind of like, let's go, I was like, where is he going with this? Until he was sort of all bloodied on the ground. He was like, listen, man, I got to tell your wife and sister that I did everything I could. And he's all bleeding. I'm like, there it is. It's the guilt.
My other strategy would have just been run as fast as... I would have taken the coward's way out. I would be on a bus, a train, somewhere out of town where he could not find me.
Franklin did what he had to do.
Yeah.
And it worked.
This was a real...
It worked.
I
was so scared.
I was terrified. This was a tour de force episode for Franklin. He achieved a lot of stuff. I didn't know how he was going to keep Jerome out of that barber shop, but not only does he keep Jerome out of there, but he also, at the same time, kind of gives Jerome most of what he would want by the end of this hour.
Yeah, Jerome got what he needed, but we will get to that as well.
Yes.
So we left the last episode with Franklin being at T's house and sort of, starting that conversation. So we got sort of the whole spiel here. First, she was offered $100,000 by Manboy to get the plug. She said, okay. Then she claims that she then saw Franklin and changed her mind, that she didn't realize, that all these feelings would come back, where Franklin kind of called that out as BS. No, I don't believe you. It doesn't even matter if it's true because we're here now, kind of thing. So I said in the last review that I didn't think that they were going to sort of send her on a mission alone because she can't be trusted, which is exactly what ended up happening. They just watched her, made her make the phone call to Manboy to set up the meeting, where I was kind of like, this is all a little too convenient. Manboy's not going to go to that meeting.
No, that's what was kind of great about this, was that this was like the ultimate double cross, where it's like, okay, they make this knowing full well that Manboy may not believe it, knowing full well that he may come here, and so they know full well that that is their opportunity to strike. It was
for sure
perfect. Well, also gory.
It was gory. But the greatest part about it, and we'll talk about losing Manboy, but the greatest part about it was the end, where Franklin handed T the gun and was like, here, you'll be able to sort of explain this away by being like, oh, Manboy came in to, robberies. But good luck, explaining all the dead bodies outside. You're real good at lying. You'll figure it out. He really left her out to dry. And I don't feel bad about it at all.
I was about to say, I would feel bad for someone like TFT to not do some of the things that she did to Franklin in the first place. Like, she set him up. So, really, turnabout's fair play, right? Like,
she got everything she deserved. But that last scene where she was just standing there with the gun being like, I got 4 bodies to get rid of and deal with. I was just like, oh, yeah. That felt good. Satisfying.
The thing that I appreciated about some of the deaths in this episode is just that they happened in a way where it didn't feel like it was the same old conventional death. That's like, Manboy is still kind of in the midst of his, like, Shakespearean monologue when he's just, like, talking all the ground and all of a sudden he just gets shot and it's over.
Manboy cannot stop talking, and he cannot stop trying to find an angle, which is why he has been as dangerous as he's been. So we lost Manboy. I mean, it kind of felt like this is where it was going to have to go, but I was hoping that they would actually find another way, because he is such a great foil for Franklin. Like, I loved having Manboy on this show. He's so smart, and he's so tricky. Like I said, he's always looking for another angle, and he is always finding a way to get out of stuff. I was worried he wasn't going to make it out of the season, but I was actually hoping that he would continue on.
This is the death that legitimately shocked me. I thought that Manboy would die eventually, but they kept talking about his ambition, his strength, how they were more worried about him than Scully. I would have bet every remaining tiny piece of hair left on my head that Scully was going to be the one that died before Manboy. Like, I was so confident about this. I thought he'd be there at the end.
Let's talk about Scully for just a second since you brought him up, because he is still alive, but he is in a really bad place. He's lost his daughter. We're going to talk about Khadijah, because she is now also dead.
Yeah.
And I know him and Manboy, no love lost there for a while, but they had been working together this past little while. So he has lost his entire, like, close circle of everybody.
It feels like because of all that, Scully is not long for this world, but it also sort of feels like we got, like, the big epic death with Manboy, where I feel like with Scully, I'm trying to... Okay, I'll do a little bit of a Game of Thrones comparison here. Spoiler alert for a show that has been over for many years that most of you now hate. But, okay, we have, like, the big, shocking Ned Stark death. And then we have Tywin Lannister getting shot on the toilet. Like, Scully's death is going to be the Tywin Lannister of this show, where we all know what's happening. It's going to be unceremonious, and it's just there.
My hope is that, because Scully is also a character that I really like and is a really good foil for Franklin. I need to see one of the two of them. Manboy, who's now dead, so, that horse is out of the race here.
Yeah.
But then you got to keep Scully for next season. I mean, unless they're going in a completely different direction next season, he has so much motivation to come after Franklin and his whole operation, and he's so unpredictable.
He is unpredictable. I mean, I don't know where he's going to find resources now, but, he is unpredictable. Maybe he gets out of town. Maybe he finds a way to bring in some people we don't know about. He's got some options, but who's not an option for anyone anymore? Khadijah, R.I.P.
Okay, so we had the whole setup here where Franklin got her friends to sort of turn on her and bring her down, being like, hey, we know where Leon is, that sort of thing. With Wanda, my wonderful Wanda, she came to help out and stuff like that, which was great. I'm really glad that even though she's been cleaned, now for a little while, that they're still having her in the show.
Yeah.
Because for a long time, it was sort of her addiction that was like keeping the show honest and keeping her around. I was worried that she was going to become clean and then she wasn't going to be around, but she is.
Yeah.
And she is still helping out. That scene where Khadijah comes in, and it was very strange, but I understand it, to see where Leon was coming from with this, where he was trying to offer a sincere apology for what he did to her daughter, but there is no apology for this. There's no way to say I'm sorry, or you can't take it back. There's no way to make it better, which is what Khadijah said. But it was very interesting to see that Leon is looking for some sort of resolution or not necessarily forgiveness, but something that can help him move forward from this. Because when Jerome just pulled out the gun and was like, nope, none of this is happening. I am done with this. Gone, done. Yeah. Which is, good for Jerome. He needed to have this also. That scene where, Leon's on the ground, he's just like, no, I was just like, what are you going to get from this? Like, how are you going to get anything from Khadijah? She was never going to give you any sort of resolution that you would ever be happy with.
It's the best scene of the episode. And I just think the Leon character has gotten so much. And I'm not saying he wasn't strong in the first few seasons, but like this has been his strongest season to me. And just the performance was incredible. It's one of these sort of things. Like I kind of hypothesized that what Leon did was going to change him because we knew that he was capable of doing a lot of stuff before that, but that was not his intended plan, and I think it has been eating away at him, and obviously it's eating away at him to the point where he thinks that, Khadijah, of all people, is going to give him absolution when she wants nothing more than revenge. And I could have easily seen a situation here where Leon's sort of desperation to get something from her could have easily led to Leon's own death if Jerome was not there and the tables were turned somewhat.
Oh, for sure. And now moving forward from this, where it's almost like Leon thought that Khadijah was the only person that was going to be able to give him any kind of peace, because he clearly has not been able to move past it. And they said in a couple episodes that sometimes, even the hardest of people, killing a kid, that's it for them. They never come back from that. They try, but they can't. And with him on the floor, just sort of like, there's just no way. So now I'm wondering, where does Leon go from here? Because if this was sort of in his mind and in his heart, the last way he was going to be able to get past this, now what?
He's
Scully?
I really don't know. Like, he's going to need some support. He's going to need some scenes with Jerome, and maybe Jerome can help him to get through this. Maybe Jerome can tell him exactly what you just said, that there was no way Khadijah was going to ever offer this to him.
Or maybe Jerome can he introduced sort of the idea to Leon about community, and that there is an importance of sort of having the community, having the respect of the community, and being part of the community. And maybe that would be something that could bring Leon out of this sort of stuff. Where I kind of wondered if this was going is if Leon was going to sort of get deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into this sorrow that he's carrying around, that he was going to start using his own product. I am really hoping that's not where they're going to go with that, but I mean, pain is pain, and sometimes that happens.
Yeah, and if they do want to continue to show the consequences of this world, if Wanda does stay clean, like, it's certainly possible somebody else goes down that hole. This other story, okay, we've been very positive about this episode so far.
This episode was really good.
And now we have to pump the brakes for a second here, because the part of the episode that I think I still have a lot of questions on is Irene. Okay. No, everyone thought Irene was going to die. I didn't think they'd kill her until the finale, but I knew that she was going to die this season.
Yeah, she was absolutely going to die. And, we kind of thought either by Franklin or Teddy. So Teddy ended up killing her, but this all played out really weird. I also said this in the last review. I didn't understand why Teddy didn't just kill her. And I understand sort of the idea of, if she all of a sudden disappears, that, that could sort of blow back on the CIA or blow back on Teddy or whatever.
Yeah.
But letting her live was such a colossal mistake that it just didn't make any sense to me. I didn't get it. It was kind of like, Teddy, you're going to be back here the next night having to clean up this mess, and it may be worse. And it almost was.
I don't understand the rules in his head sometimes, because it was almost like he wanted to offer her like an olive branch of humanity and not killing her in this past episode, but it's like, you offered no olive branch to Fuentes or any of those people earlier this season, so why here? And then when Irene meets up with him at the end of this episode, they're at a bar, and okay, first of all, if I'm Irene, he could be Leonardo DiCaprio, and I would not buy whatever performance he was selling me. Like, I would not buy anything he's saying.
I see where you land on the actor arc here.
He won an Oscar, so you know what? He deserves that. But okay, if Leonardo DiCaprio, a.k.a. Teddy, is there delivering his performance with the bear from The Revenant or whatever Leo won that Oscar for, like, I still would not believe him. And then we get to the part, can I get you a drink?
Yeah, I didn't understand this at all.
Yeah.
It just was it was unbelievable. Irene is really smart. She also was just almost killed by Teddy the night before. She just went on a radio program and threatened him and said, I will be back here, to reveal his name if the CIA doesn't clean this mess up. So I'm about to completely expose you. Real name. Hey, Irene, you want a drink from me? Your old pal, Teddy. I was just like, why are you drinking this? What is wrong with you?
I would tell him, I don't drink. I haven't drank in a long time. I'm not thirsty right now.
I will go get my own drink and I will get you a drink. It was so unbelievable.
Yeah. I don't buy that, but she takes it. It's, lo and behold, later on we find out, okay, it's obviously been spiked.
Yeah, and she crashes, he takes the tape recorder, he plants the drugs that he's spiked it with in her purse. Tox report comes back. Yes, she had taken this, whatever, we all know that, but this leaves us then at this other weird sort of spot where Teddy ends up visiting Franklin. Is kind of like, okay, the Irene problem has been taken care of.
Yeah.
What are we doing about your father? And I was just like, oh no. A lot of you in the comments have said Alton's gonna die, and now it's kind of like looking like Alton's gonna die.
I have an enormous pit in my stomach about Alton, and it's just, I don't know where else he goes now, because, if Sissy's doesn't go, I don't think he's gonna go. And I think ultimately it's going to be a situation where he's going to be, if he's stuck there, like, is Alton just going to, like, go hide away in a corner? Is nobody else that worked with Irene going to, like, ask any questions at all? Or are they just going to be like, oh, she was, having a hard time because she just lost her job? Well,
they may all want to put their heads in the sand. I mean, if it's a CIA cover-up death, which it kind of is, then they may not want to be next. So they could just be like, what are you going to do?
Here's the question I wonder right now. I mean, clearly, Franklin and Alton, they're not having, like, father-son, celebratory trips here or anything. They're not super chummy, but, Franklin, Leon going and killing Franklin's father, like, that is a pretty big leap that it changed his relationships.
Yeah, this is another situation where I could see where Franklin understands where Teddy is coming from, because Alton's the person who brought Irene to this radio show and that they were still clearly working together. And, Alton's the one who told Irene this stuff in the first place. Like, getting rid of Irene is not getting rid of the problem. Alton is the problem. He is not willing to stop until it's all exposed. So, I mean, Franklin's gotta know that this won't stop with him, so he's kind of in this weird spot. But at the same time, he's also running a business. He's also working with the CIA. He has this, like, incredible control over what's going on with his mom now. I mean, that scene in the hospital where she was just basically like, I just need a hug. And Alton's giving her a hug, and then also hear Franklin's voice being like, what is going on here? Like, you can't even have a hug.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, okay, this is where we've landed now.
Yeah, Franklin is really trying to set some hardcore boundaries here, like permanent marker boundaries. And
I mean, sure, he can try to do that, but Sissy still should be able to do what she wants. That's her man.
Yeah, and that's where the ripple effect comes in here. Because if Teddy kills Alton, Sissy's got to have some suspicions about how all this goes down. And Franklin tries to keep her, and then, that trickles over to Louie, to Jerome. Like, there's no, like, clean, easy way to just pluck him from this world.
No, once this comes into play, where if Franklin has a hand in killing his own father going into season 5, it is going to be real, like, there's going to be a real dark cloud over this family.
Yeah. It's going to be dark. It's going to be messy. But, you know, Snowfall, they're in a killing mood at the moment, clearly. So
they were in this episode. Nobody's sad about Irene.
Okay, yeah, nobody's out there having, you know, a candlelight vigil for Irene. Nobody likes the person who's trying to, like, covertly take down the whole operation.
Oh, Manboy.
Yeah.
Such a good character.
Yeah, this is also
such a bummer.
This is also the weird thing about this show is that the person we're the saddest to lose is one of the biggest, like, hardcore bad guys in the world of Snowfall.
He was a really good bad. Listen, you don't get really good sort of foils for your heroes that often on TV where you're just like, you're also invested in them because they make your main character even better and they make those stories even better. And that's what Manboy did for this show. He made Franklin's story like even better. All
right, an invisible toast to Manboy. You had a good run. You were gonna die at some point. It just has to be now. All right, which death are you guys surprised about the most, and why is it Manboy in this episode? Because it's not Irene. Let's not kid ourselves here. Khadijah was gonna go. Let us know what you thought about episode 9 in the comments, and if you like this video, subscribe, give us a like, support us more, check those links to the store, our Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.